What's up, everybody? It's Mike from Morbid Media. Nothing like a good vape on a fine Wednesday. All right, guys. I'm here. We're gonna do a review of the Almighty Blade Chroma. And not only is it going to be a review, but it's also going to be a tutorial on how to put the prop guards on and how to assemble it, because it does disassemble. Down here, you'll notice it's all in pieces. And I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of details. I'm just going to get straight down to it. This right here is actually the cover for the gimbal. You just snap in and snap out, but when you put your Chroma away, it's always good to have it on if you don't have it disassembled from it or taken off, but it fits right on the back of it. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is put the landing gears on, which is there's one right here, and even the battery's taken out. So I'm going to go ahead and put the first landing gear on, and it just snaps into place just like this. Right here is where you unsnap it. And as soon as you hear that little click and just pull on it, make sure it's secured on there, and it'll be just fine. And I'm going to put the other landing gear on. Same exact way. I don't have much room here, so you have to work with what I got. Okay, so now the landing gears are on. Okay, now we're going to get a little higher here. I'm going to go ahead and put the battery in. This is only number 2 of the 2 batteries that I have. The other ones in the box only have charged. This one's fully charged. And that slides into the backpack here, just like so. And you just slide it. It only goes in one way, so you don't have to worry about reverse polarities or anything like that. So you just stick it in the backpack here, and then you push it till it snaps. There you go. Now it's snapped. The GPS mast is down. Before any flight, you always raise the GPS mast, because that's where you're going to get your compass and GPS. That is very important for any flying. Absolutely. Now, next, well, I'm going to put the props on. Now, you got to match the A props with the A props and the B props with the B props. And that's very important. They're only screw on one way, and so you don't have to worry about making mistakes. It actually tells you on here if it's A or B. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. This is an A prop, and it'll even give you the arrow as the direction as to when you tighten it and loosen it, so you don't have to worry about making any mistakes when you put it together. So this one's going counterclockwise as far as turning up, putting it on. Make sure it's tight, but not too tight. You don't want to over tighten them. Okay. The next prop is a B prop, and it really doesn't matter which end you put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this B prop over here, since that was the one I decided to put it on. So it just goes on just like that. Then you hold on to the motor, and you just don't tighten it to the point where it can't go no more, but just enough where you know it's good and secure, won't have any backlash if you're flying, if you suddenly have to pull down the throttle, which you shouldn't do anyways. Here's another B prop. Nice little 360 turn, make sure it's secure, and of course this one's an A. Alright, voila, there we go. Okay, now I got the props on, and now we're going to do the prop guards. On the prop guards, it has a little rounded edge, as you can see, and it goes perfectly flush with the rounded edge of the rotors here. And underneath here is a little bit of a lip. You got this little lip down here that actually grabs onto the bottom right under here. There's a little bit of a lip as well. So you just actually have to line the bottom of this up underneath it, and then force it and push it up until it snaps in place, which is what I'm going to do now. Whoop. Try not to drop the quad while I'm putting it on there. Okay, now it's popped in place. How you see? So it's connected underneath here. Okay, it's like it's gripping it. Then up here, you have a part where the let me move the prop. You have a part right here where the Allen screw goes in, and they do come with little Allen screws, and plus Chroma already provides you with Allen wrenches for any of the Allen, because this whole thing has nothing but Allen screws. There's no Phillips or flatheads, which is perfect because they have a tendency to stay in place better. So I got the one little Allen screw right here. I'm going to place it in there, and this is one of the Allen screws that Horizon Hobby was courteous enough to provide us with. And I'm going to go ahead and screw her in. Screw her in. Okay, I already got the first one on. I didn't screw it all the way down because I'm not actually going to use it. This is mostly good for beginners and people who are just learning to fly, and if they want to lessen their chances of doing any collateral damage to other people's property, such as their windows or house, car, and yes, even people sometimes. Okay, now we got all the prop guards in place. As you can see, it really added a lot of width to the unit, and so you have to take that into consideration when you're transporting it and doing whatever it is you need to do with them. So it's giving it a lot more size. Now, last but definitely not least, the most important element of all is the camera and the gimbal. And this slides in the bottom. There's a thing right here that you slide it in. Right here is the clip that you actually release it when you go to take it off after you've taken the wire off, which connects to the bottom as well. So I'm going to slide this in. Make sure you got it aligned with a little slide and it snaps in place. So now it's snapped in place. So the next thing I have to do is take the little cable and connect it right here. There's a little bit of this connection right here. So you put that in there and just be gentle with it. Don't be forceful, and just push it in and it's plugged in. So now you have your entire model put together. You're gonna notice it's got a little bit of weight to it, especially with the battery, but don't worry about it. It flies just fine, and it can handle the weight, and you still get your 30 minutes of flight time. But let me explain something to you about the flight time. Yes, it says 30 minutes, but that's only if you're flying wisely. If you're just hovering in place, doing video, taking pictures. But if you're doing acrobats and flying at rapid speeds and doing stuff like that, you might be lucky to get 25 to 26 minutes. So these aren't really designed for acrobats and all that. They have other models that you can use for that purpose. This is strictly aerial photography or videography format platform, and that's exactly what it is. That's what it's for. So here it is, put all together. Now I'm going to show you the radio transmitter. Okay, now as mentioned, I've got the ST10 Plus receiver, which has the 5-inch Android display touchscreen, and I'm going to turn it on right now. Now it takes a moment to boot up, and it vibrates when you first turn it on. You kind of like a phone. It just turns right on, and you'll notice a little intro music or sound effect. Don't that sound cool? Kind of gives it a premium sound, premium effect, and it also vibrates when it makes that noise as well. So I guess that's, and then another vibration, third vibration. I like things that vibrate. Anyways, it's now booting up, and I have not turned the Chroma on yet, so it's not going to connect to it quite yet. But right here on this side is actually the rabbit and turtle mode, and rabbit mode makes everything go a lot faster, just like I'm talking right now. But when it's put in turtle mode, well, actually that was in turtle mode. When it's in turtle mode, it actually makes the Chroma respond a little slower. So, but when you first turn the unit on, Horizon Hobby recommends that it's in the rabbit position, and it also recommends that it's in smart mode, which is all the way up to the top. And also on this side, which is the left side of the radio, you have the gimbal control, and it also recommends that that's turned all the way up to the top when you turn the model on. Okay, but you can slide this up and down to control the gimbal. The pitch of the gimbal will go down and then up. And right here, of course, you have the power button. You long press it for about a couple seconds until the motors turn on, and then after you land the model, you long press it again until the motor shut off. Now when you're landing it, now this is the key, never ever jot this down real fast, especially while you're in high flight, because if you thrust your throttle down too fast, it can cause your propellers to backlash a little bit, because it's going the reverse motion as it's supposed to be self-tightening. Well, it'll reverse it, and that could potentially cause your propellers to come loose. So you don't want that. If you're going to land, especially if it's an emergency, if you don't, you could hit return to home, which is right here in the bottom. You flip that down and go return to home. but I strongly recommend you land it yourself because you want to make sure that everything is done perfectly. But when you land her and you finally get to the ground, you hold that down for a few seconds and then let go, and it'll just stay at a low idle, and you'll be able to shut your motors off. You don't have to hold it down and then shut your motors off. So that's very important. Of course, you can see this is touchscreen. I'm going to turn the model on so you can see how she boots up. Get a good clear shot. Now I'm going to turn the model on. The switch is up here to turn it on. It's on top instead of on the bottom. Oh, if I can find it, turn it up. There we go. As you can see, it actually lights up in a bright light, a white light first, like a strobe light, and then it starts going into GPS. Now it's searching for GPS. That's what the green lights are signifying as they're going around and around just like that. The green lights are orbiting, searching for GPS. When the lock's in GPS, the front lights will be white and the rear lights will be green. Or right now it's a smart mode. If you put it in AP mode, they'll be purple. Okay, now we're going to do the flight demonstration. You always turn the radio on. No matter what model you have, you always turn the radio on. And I just turned it on. Once I know it's been on and it's mostly booted up, I can turn the unit on as well, so it can start looking for GPS. Okay, now I can turn the unit on after I heard the chime. Now I gotta wait for it to find GPS, which generally doesn't take very long. I have it on angle mode because, it's angle mode, but it's also known as AP mode. And the reason why is because I'm a lot more comfortable flying in AP mode. I'm already kind of more experienced, so I don't need the smart feature very much. That's mostly for beginners. And the radio will let me know when she's armed and ready, but it has to find satellites first. It won't even allow me to turn the motors on until it's found satellites. Now, granted, it actually uses GLONASS, which uses American and Russian satellites, so it could go anywhere from 10 to I think 20 or 24 satellites. Right here where I live, it actually connects to about 15 or 16 satellites, which is more than enough. And now she's ready, so now I can start the rotors on. As you see, I'm not putting any input. Look, I'm not putting any input if hovers in place. It's connected to 9 satellites right now. It's got a very powerful downdraft. I'm going to bring her a little closer to you. As you can see, she's very stable in the air. I noticed the downdraft is very powerful, so if you got people underneath you, it's not very safe to, anything can happen. So I try not to go over people with it. You're not supposed to by law anyway, so that's FAA for you. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to probably do a flight demonstration at night, but I'm going to make that a separate video because the LED lights are very important for night flight. And for those of you who like to fly at night, That is very important and very crucial, because the LED lights, not only for easy tracking, but they also have messages for you when things aren't right or whatever might be going on in the unit or even on the radio. So it's very important to know. So click subscribe, click like, please. Thank you for watching.